Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So, with the new update 2.2.600, if you're exploring as a cat, you will have new areas to explore, as well as new equipment, new loot in terms of those white sparkles, and actually new paths to find hidden bosses. So for those who remember, or those who have already done it before, I remember that the first cat update, you could use Varial to kind of explore in Moonlight Forest, and there was a hidden path in there, and you can actually attack a couple of horrors, as well as a super boss of sorts. Now this particular update brings us one as well. And so, be prepared for this one. It's a little bit different than the previous one, so hopefully this battle will show you how to handle this particular super boss, Regenwurm. Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. Also, I do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So, this particular boss actually has two forms. The first form is kind of the outer shell, similar to the bosses we fought in Eastern Region Part 2. Remember the Dogu kind of king? He had an outer shell and then kind of a core inside. This one will have the same, so you do have to bring a varied party. Now, if you're wondering why I'm using this, you'll see very soon. So the first part of the battle is fairly straightforward. It's weak to wind, and so if you bring 3 wind characters of any sort that have some power and Grasta and or manifest weapons, you won't have too much of a difficult time. Note that I am using Myers as my healer, and again, you'll find out very shortly why you're doing that. That being said, within 2 or 3 turns, provided you do have enough power, you can easily AF the bar and take down this outer shell, and you can see there's plenty of AF bar left, so not much of a struggle here. I would recommend not bringing too many wind characters because they may not come into much use into the second part of this battle. So that part's done. And unfortunately, once we've broken the shell, its stomach sucks us inside, and we have to take on its second form. So this is the Regenwurm core, and this one's only vulnerable to magic, and actually you don't attack the core itself. You see those 3 kind of tor blobs on the bottom? Those are the ones you want to eliminate, because if you eliminate them within a few turns, it does damage to the core as it dies. And so you want to bring magic characters because physical attacks will not work on those tors, which I found out the first couple of times that I've actually attempted this particular boss. So initially I brought an all physical team, and that just kind of ended very, very poorly. So if you're bringing Myris, you do have access to AoEs, and of course OG Garyu is very, very useful in wiping them out, both with Explosion, which boosts mage attacks with the staff users by 50% with a manifest weapon, and then he can use his other AoE to take down the enemies. So you can use Explosion to boost everybody, and notice that I'm also using OG Tuva with manifest as well. Her Great Wall does do increased damage when she's above 50% HP, and obviously if you use Call of the Dark first, it can actually enhance Earth attack characters damage by 30%, which actually increases Myris's attack too. So basically everyone's boosting everyone else for this particular team, and so you can see that wiped out 2 of them, and every time the Tor dies, it does over 2 million damage to the boss. And so there you go, 6 million damage done all over, and if you kill all 3, you do an additional 2.8 million damage. Now the damage is fixed, so it's not like a number that we've generated just by killing off or doing specific amounts of damage. You just have to kill the Tors. Now in the second round, 2 of the Tors are still vulnerable to magic, and 1 in the middle is not vulnerable to magic. Now I did try it a couple of times because unfortunately I did die a few times before this video was up. If you don't kill it in time, they will spawn into enemies, and if you kill the enemies after they spawn, you still do damage to the core, but instead of doing 2 point whatever million, you're only doing 1/10 the damage, about 200,000 damage. So the boss fight can be short or very long, and if you don't kill those Tors in time, what happens is they will spawn into enemies like mobs. So one will be, for example, there's a blue slime, there was assault those red bits, there was abatos and so on and so forth. And yeah, so you don't want to get to that point. If you do that, while the mobs attack you, the core also does minor HP and MP damage. So not only are you racing against time in terms of taking attacks damage from the mobs, which by the way hit very hard, at least level 80 type, so hit for between 1 and 2,000. You'll also run out of MP, and recycling to the back won't give you enough time to regenerate, being that you're still taking damage from the core in terms of taking magical attacks. So there you go. If you do have a strong mixed team of mages as well as wind users, you shouldn't have a problem here. And note that you don't need any zones, because if you do bring, for example, Easkeryu and rotate him in, you'll eliminate some of your other characters' abilities, being that it reduces, for example, wind attacks by 50%. So I didn't opt to bring any sort of zone characters here. Now, after you're done, if you head to the top left corner of this area, and note this is in, I guess, Carol Plains, then you'll be able to rescue these two guys, and at the end of all of that, it'll be similar to the one with the first battle with Rot Rival, where you'll be able to exchange 50 Chaos Crystals from defeating the boss once, and you'll be able to exchange for Jadeite or other specialized Grasta. Now, I will show you the Grasta at the end of this video before I end it. And the Grasta are actually very interesting. Some of them are all elemental-based damage, and it gives you 25% type damage for people with specific traits. So, for example, you'll see that there will be one for Glasses, one for Sweet Tooth, one for IDA School. So, if you equip those Grasta, obviously you'll still have to use Jadeite of attacks and other, attack fragments to upgrade them to max. They'll give a +10/+10 stat bonus, as well as 25% type attack. So much better than 20% wind Grasta, for example, you might already have. However, obviously, being that they do use Jadeites, you might be limited in that role. Keep in mind also that these horrors do spawn every 6 hours. So if you want to come back and claim all, I believe, 16 rewards, you will have to kill it a total of 16 times, just like Rot Rival. So here's the menu right here. And you do get at least one Jadeite attack. The rest you'll have to farm from, Antiquity or present-day Guerrilla dungeon. Thanks for watching! We'll see you next time.